Welcome to the All Juvecast, and this is episode 149. And I'm not gonna lie, this could be a very, very painful one. Let's see how it goes down. Just absolutely fucking shit show here. Juventus 3-2 winning the game, 4-4 on aggregates. Porto advance. Fuck my life. Let's bring the guests in here that are going to cover this, and we're going to try and do our best to try and get this thing make some kind of sense out of what exactly went down. Let's bring in Yamin here, man. It's a pleasure to have you aboard. We've been talking for a while to get you on the pod. I'm so sorry that it's these circumstances, brother.
I know. It's the morning
But
after.
yeah, man. Geez, there is a tradition. I'd still like to stay true to it on this pod. If you don't mind sharing your story on how you became a Juventino, real quick before we get into the whole match and everything.
Oh man, it started a long time ago. I think that was back in 2004. Me and my brother, we just made it to we were playing in our elementary school soccer team, and we had to wear jerseys. And I remember my father that day just randomly brought two jerseys. One was Inter, and one was Juve. And I picked Juve one, thank God. And ever since, I just wanted to know what was all about Juve. So I started playing PlayStation with Juve, started watching as much games as I can with Juve, fell in love with Del Piero, with Nedved, with that generation, and it was from there. I never looked back.
That's
That's it.
awesome,
That was
man.
just Juve for me since then.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. Thank you for sharing. Yeah, we're gonna get ready to have a lot of fun. Now, one of the comments coming in here is just seeing if there's any adjustment to the volume on your end, Yamin. But we're gonna bring in Raph. Raph, he's been a guest
Yo,
before on the All UV cast. How are you doing, man?
terrible, but we move, man. We move.
Yeah, it's a tough one to really put into words, and I mean, I am an idiot, but I put myself through it, and I made a stiff drink at least, but I washed it 2 times over to try and still process it, and I just couldn't. So who knows what's going to happen today? We'll see how this one goes, and let's bring in the fourth on this panel today, and it's Colin. Colin, how are you doing, man?
Oh, pretty rough, But I kind of echo what Raph was saying. We move, We have to try to quickly put this behind us, draw a line under it, and move on.
Yeah, there's really no time to sit around and dwell because they are in at least somewhat in this race there. Despite if Merda looks strong and tough to drop points, we have to keep going. And he's got to start, Pirlo's got to start finding answers for the future if they are going to stick with this project. And we'll get to that, of course, after this. This is just tough, guys. We're gonna kick this one off with the lineups there. I mean, did anybody see anything with the starting lineup that they didn't agree with when we have Szczesny, Cuadrado, Demiral, Bonucci, Sandro across the back, Artur, Rabiot, Ramsey, Chiesa, Morata, and CR. Again, guys, for me, it's Porto. You're in Turin. This lineup, we still didn't know how it was going to play out. Would Pirlo make some type of tweak to how it looked on the pitch or whatnot? What was Porto going to do? Was Porto going to actually try and park it, or were they going to come out strong? Because a lot of people thought that Porto would park it, and I wasn't so sure. I thought maybe Porto would come out and try and get that away goal, and try and push a bit at the start. But the lineup for me, honestly, I didn't see anything wrong with it that I would have probably done. I mean, I have my thoughts about Sandro as a left back. I understand people not wanting to maybe go with Bernardeschi in this match. But other than that, that's even just like a tweak. I didn't think we would be banking on the back in this match. Like, I didn't think it would be an issue. I thought anybody you put across the back there should ultimately get the job done against this side. I thought for us it was going to be, are we going to be able to create enough? Because in the first leg, for much of that match, we simply didn't. So that's all I felt is it's going to be up to, our mids, our forwards, get creative and find some goals here. But starting lineups, did anybody see anything they didn't like? Let's kick it off with Yamin here.
No, I think that was our best lineup. I think that was our best lineup for that game. And honestly, I don't think Porto did anything in both legs. We just gave it to them. We literally just gave it to them. Like in both games. If you look at the first 10 minutes of that game, it was a goal, just gift. Even
Yeah.
the second goal in the second half was a gift. Even the match yesterday, penalty out of nothing. So we just literally gave it to them. They didn't offer anything. And one thing they did very well was they knew that we crumbled under pressure since the first game. They didn't come here to play. They were coming just to put us in pressure
Yeah.
and capitalize on our mistakes. So in the terms of lineup, I don't think there was any issue right there. It
Yeah.
was just we're not
And
at the bar.
yeah, and I agree. I think lineup wise we were fine. Raph, any issues you had with the lineup, or pretty straightforward and good to go?
I have an issue with the lineup, but not because I think the selection was poor, but just because our players are mediocre. Like, that's not a Champions League team that we put out. Most of the players in there wouldn't make another top European side, yet they're starting for us in a crucial Champions League match. That's the
Yeah.
problem that we've had for years now.
So you didn't necessarily have a problem with Pirlo playing these guys due to his options or whatnot. It's just you're
Who else
having
does he
more
have to
issues
play?
with our roster as a whole.
Yeah, there's no one else to play in the position. If you don't play Ramsey, who do you play? If you don't play, I don't know, Ronaldo, who do you play there? If you don't play Chiesa, who do you play? There's no one in that team or on the bench that I would have said, okay, you can put them in the starting lineup and we'll be better.
Yeah, I was kind
Team's
of,
mediocre.
this is it, straightforward. And it's something that I've said on the pod for a while now. We're going to definitely dive into it after. But I don't know, man. If you look at this roster for a team that's taken this much money out of this competition for a decade, it should be stronger. I think that's a fair statement to make. Colin, any issues with the lineup?
Yeah. And I said this in the days, like privately and on pods, in the run up to this game. I felt the best calls were for guys who were the fittest, and I had doubts about Chiellini and Bonucci because they had not played. I know Chiellini didn't play last night. Bonucci started, but the guy had no minutes in him for the previous month nearly. So, like, for me, Delict was only missing for the guts of a week. The guy was still actually closer to match fitness than Bonucci was. For me, I know it's a big game, and I know I understand why Pirlo went for it. But for me, the fittest guys are the guys that should be on the field. I know Danilo wasn't there, obviously, but we saw the previous couple of games, Alexandro playing centre back, actually, because he didn't have to run up and down the field. He did really well. He could just rely on his reading of the game. He did fantastically well. And to put him in left back, the guy, honestly, I don't want to be too hard on him because we know it's not like this was a freak performance. We know he doesn't have the legs anymore, and we're asking him to cover the whole wing. He's just not able to do it. So for me, Delict or Sandro would have been a better centre back partnership. Can I criticize Bonucci? Yeah, I can criticize Bonucci. He was on the field and he's not a leader, guys. He's just not a leader. The guy is not. The best example of that for me was when he came off. The camera cut to him in the stands. He's shouting and roaring and giving abuse to guys left, right, and centre. And I'm thinking, Jesus, man, we didn't hear any of this when you were on the field. You're not talking to people when you're on the field, but you're in the stand. The guy gives it all that in the stand. He's not he doesn't.
I know, and we're definitely going to get to the leadership thing and all that because there's nothing we won't touch on. There's so much to talk about, man. David Fafaro coming in, Chiesa was a joy to watch, and you know what, Chiesa is definitely going to be something to talk about in terms of everything. When it comes to leadership, when it comes to on the pitch and whatnot, Chiesa, we're going to definitely touch on Chiesa. Ali coming in saying we should admit we played good in the second leg and we're so creative, and also Porto defended so good in both legs and we missed Danilo's game. I am not feeling the same way that we necessarily played very good. I mean, we had a team that struggled and still couldn't find answers, and they went a guy down, with a lot of time for us. And I never felt like we were truly putting them under, like truly like taking it to them with wave after wave and really making life very, very difficult for them. In a match like that, the team shouldn't be able to breathe when they go a man down. Like that should be it. And, we got the second one, it's 2-1, but after, as the match got later, you can maybe say, hey, let's get some subs in. But then again, it comes down to quality of the guys you're putting in. Where do you put them? How do you play them? Like, what's going to change? And Pirlo, I saw some question marks coming about the subs and whatnot, but we're going to cover it all. I'm just going to touch on key points in the first half. We'll quickly go through first half, second half, extra time, and then we're going to get to the absurd amount of topics we have. Okay, guys? It starts here. We're 2 minutes in. Morata has a clear-cut header that has to go in. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. That changes the entire complexion of this entire match. We were unable to capitalize. Credit to the keeper, sure, but I expect either one of those two front men to finish that, so it starts right there. They come back. They have a little bit of a scramble there. Bonucci, following his man, happens to put him in a position to block this shot, and then the follow-up header goes off the bar. Warning shot from Porto. 9th minute, Ramsey tries to get a header off a free kick from Cuadrado. It just happens to be going wide. And then the 18th minute, tough one. I was torn on this one, but I think ultimately it is a PK against Demiral. It's a very, very tough one to take in this type of match. But for me, it is. I put it to a poll amongst guys I play with in tournament teams and everything like that. And it was split decently, but ultimately a PK. What do you guys think? PK for sure?
No, I don't think it was a PK at all. That was very soft. That was a very soft penalty. And I don't know what it took him a minute for the ref to give that penalty. And when we saw De Ligt getting tackled at the end, he didn't hesitate. He said, "No, that's not a penalty," right there.
Mm-hmm.
But when it came to Porto's penalty, he took his time. I think he was trying to hear it if it was a penalty or not. He was trying to get on from whoever's watching the game from up there. But with De Ligt, he was so fast to dismiss it. But for me, it was not a penalty at all. It was very soft.
It's one of those tough ones because you can see Demiral, who has the right to go and play for that ball. However, the player's trying to shield, and he gets his leg there first, and ultimately you can't go through a guy to play the ball. So it's a tough one, man. It's really a tough one. You can almost look at it and say that the forward generated the contact by kicking his leg out to shield it. But ultimately, it's tight. And that's why I say, it was almost 50-50 down the wire on this. Asking people. Yeah. I can see it going both ways. Colin and Raph, penalty for you guys?
It was, but it was very, it was a 50-50 call for me. I was looking at it, I said it's soft, and then I was just seeing the timeline, saying this is why Demiral shouldn't be starting, and I was thinking, come on, guys, it's a 50-50 challenge.
It is
given or it won't. And it's not
Exactly.
a mistake where it was like Demiral genuinely made a huge error. It was something where the player went to shield the ball, his leg was left out there, and there was a small clip. It either would have been given or it wouldn't have. And
You
it's
bet.
not a mistake we can point fingers at him for, because that's a call that would happen in football.
You
It's not
bet.
a genuine mistake.
You bet. And guys, I want to get your guys' take on Demiral right now. Okay, I want you guys to honestly talk about this because there's been a lot of fans that have been saying, you know what, if you get the opportunity, if you get the finances or whatnot, move him. And I want to hear your guys' take on this. And I do actually have to grab my plug and plug this laptop in, or I'm going to be lost completely. But I want you guys to talk about Demiral and your
Yeah, I'll
thoughts.
jump in
Raph,
on that.
you look pretty strong on this one right off the gate. Go with Demiral and people wanted to say, and then follow up with Yamin and Colin.
Okay, so for me, Demiral should not be shipped off. We've seen this happen time and time and again with players where a club will come in with a huge amount of money and then we'll say, take it, Plus Valenta, we'll get the money in, we'll replace him with someone else. But how many times has a club come in, taken one of our, let's be honest, Demiral has been a solid performer every time he's played with the Lit. We've seen it in the 2 legs against Inter Milan, how he can genuinely save us. Goal line clearances, man marking guys like Lukaku. He is a future centre-back. We're forgetting how young he is. He's 20-something years old. If he doesn't play these Champions League games and make 50-50 mistakes like that, he's never going to grow. So playing Chiellini or Bonucci in a tie like this, although some people may say they're more experienced, they'll give us more security. Remember, we're in a phase where we're rebuilding this squad. We're rejuvenating the squad. If Demiral doesn't play this game, where is he going to get that Champions League experience? Where in the future, when we have a proper team, he won't make mistakes like that. For me, if any amount of money comes in for him, we should say no. We wouldn't sell De Ligt. We shouldn't sell Demiral. They're the 2 pillars of our future backline that we need to stick by. They're literally a Chiellini and Bonucci regen. There are 2 like-for-like players in that aspect. Demiral is the fighter, the hard hitter, the tough tackler. De Ligt is the ball playing centre back, the one who's more like calm and composed. They're a good match for each other. We should not sell either of them this summer. Demiral, any offer comes in, refuse it. We need to start building a squad rather than selling players when the opportunity comes.
Yeah, and I agree. I agree with Raph the entire way on Demiral. It'd be crazy for me. AJ saying penalty or not, Demiral didn't have to make that tackle. The guy was facing.
He's right.
It's tough, yeah. I mean, it's a shitty situation. But again, does this need to be the be all end all of Demiral at Juve? No. And to be honest, I'm fine with him trying to make a challenge or whatnot, and it maybe not working out. We talked about how close this was, and Yamin touched on the ref looking at this for so fucking long before actually blowing it and calling that. That's how close this was. So to break this kid down in this type of match and really go at him and say, we need to move on. No. Okay, is he as polished as De Ligt? Hell no. De Ligt's on another level, but Demiral can get there. I have a bigger issue with the other fucking goals we allowed and how shitty they were. Okay? Like, those are the goals that really piss me off. A 50-50 like this that is questionable, that could go either way. Okay, you take your lumps and you move forward. A shit pass between Szczesny and Bentancur that gives them a gift to start off both ties, that's the kind of shit I can't tolerate and I can't accept. This little thing by Demiral, it's not the be-all, end-all. And then, this kind of sums it up perfectly. How can we sell Demiral when we still have Rugani on our fucking books?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, let's be serious, guys.
Yeah, I
just
think
to come in on Demiral.
Too harsh. It did be a little bit too harsh on Demiral. I mean, if you look back at Chiellini and even Bonucci at the beginning when they came to Juve, so many mistakes. I mean, nobody scored on Buffon like Bonucci had. And even at that time, we still believed in them and in their partnership. I mean, it actually paid off. And I do believe in Demiral and the Link's partnership in the future. From the way you can tell from the way they play together, that they prefer playing with each other than saying with Bonucci. But if I think we'd be on a harder Bonucci I saw last game. I'm always harder than Bonucci. I don't know why he came back from me. I still do not
Yeah,
understand
I
that
agree with
transfer.
you. I agree.
I
Yeah.
still do not understand that transfer.
We're definitely going to touch on that for sure. Colin, did you have one more thing to close out on Demiral as we continue on with the key points?
Yeah, like I'm listening to Raph, like, and I kind of agree. I agree with like 90% of what he's saying. You know, he's he's a kid. Do you know what I mean? And we kind of compare him with De Ligt, but like De Ligt is a freak. I mean, De Ligt is like the guy who's playing international football when he's like 17 years of age, as far as I know. Like, he's got so many caps for Holland. He was a captain of Ajax. He had so much Champions League experience with Ajax before he came. He's closer to being a finished article, but you know, so I can't really be too hard on the league. But it was a mistake. Like, I mean, yeah, you can say it's a 50-50, but experience in those situations, which he does not have, and I can't blame him for, will tell you can't make that challenge because it's too risky. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now, it wasn't a huge challenge. He didn't go through, but experience will tell you, and he'll learn for the next time. Do you know what I mean? But unfortunately, we still have to call it as a mistake.
Yeah. Well, and there it is. Sergio steps up 1-0, 3-1 on aggregates, and I'm thinking, fuck my life, guys. Come on. This competition, man, every fucking time. So 26th minute, a good ball by Cuadrado finds Morata back post again. Fuck, you expect a finish there, man. So props to the keeper to getting out to him fast, making the save. But again, frustration for Juve, man. Honestly, this is the 26th minute. We go into half with not much more for as far as opportunities or anything, and it's looking slow. No sense of urgency. Again, Porto setting up almost 6 across the back and us keeping Chiesa out wide. Morata and Ronaldo getting swallowed up, okay, whole. And we need answers. We need to send more. We need to get Chiesa moved in and playing closer to those guys. But we looked almost fine, as if we were going to just keep crossing balls in. You know, it was like, I swear to God, for whatever percent possession we had, Cuadrado must have had almost all of it.
All of it, yeah.
Like, seriously, this is a problem. This is an actual problem. We can't play that way. And the only time it looked like we were trying to get Chiesa involved was trying to send him down the byline on these long balls out to the corner. And I'm like, guys, fuck, man. Like, we're limiting ourselves and we're allowing Porto to go through this a little bit easier. We need to crank up the sense of urgency. We got to start moving the ball, and you got to get guys closer to CR and Morata, and the movement's got to be there. And it was about the 26 minute, 27 minute, I started seeing frustration again. I started seeing guys yelling at one another, hands going up in the air. And to me, that's the most frustrating fucking part, is that these guys seem to be lost on the pitch.
Yeah.
Not in sync, and just not, there's no harmony there, right? And that's a fucking problem, because you go from a Lazio match that worked onto one that looks completely broken. And you start to ask yourself, well, what changed? Well, number one, we're keeping 2 midfielders back against Porto, even though they have 6 lined up across the back. Why? Why the fuck are you doing that? You know what I mean? Start committing. Start committing guys forward. You've got Sandro carrying the ball with Chiesa staying outside of him. Why? Why are you doing that? They were able to put one man in, slide another defender in, and start eating up aerials. Because why the hell would you keep Chiesa an extra man out there if Sandro's just going to be the one coming inside of him and then trying to cross balls in? It didn't make sense. So at halftime, I'm thinking, holy shit, crank up the urgency, start sending those midfielders up, and get the fucking attack going. But it needed to be way, way better. Guys, going through the second half on key points, 48th minute, a ball over the top, settled by CR. Thank God, just get the fuck out of the way so Chiesa could come in and fucking finish. Great finish from Chiesa. Unbelievable finish. This kid,
Killer.
he's the epitome of what we need. You know what I mean? Of that attitude, that drive, that never stop, right? Never die. Beautiful finish. We get a gift 4 minutes later, okay, by Taremi making an absolute shit show and getting 2 yellows in a span of literally 2 minutes. He's sent off. This is it. This is it. This is yet another lifeline for this club, okay? Take it to them. You're 1 man up now. Let's go. In the 52nd minute, or 55th, sorry, a few minutes after this, Chiesa, man, brilliant run, heads it beyond the keeper, just couldn't get there to tuck it in. It comes off the post, off Pepe, and goes out wide. This kid is just, he's turned it up. And it's just like, are the other guys going to follow suit? Where are they going to be? Like, let's get her going here. And then 62nd minute, it's him again. A beautiful ball by Cuadrado. He was actually playing some money balls in this one, which was awesome. That's what we needed. Chiesa finishes, okay? 2-1, 3-3 on aggregates. Completely level now. 1 away goal each. Okay, we're still 1 man up. Push. Go for it. Get things done. 75th minute. De Ligt comes on for Bonucci. McKennie comes on for Ramsey. Good, because Ramsey was invisible for me.
Yeah,
like Ramsey
definitely
added nothing to this match. Everybody agree on that?
Yeah, absolutely. And he was the guy in the position that could have done it. He was in a hole, and that's where the play needed to be, you know.
Yeah, there was nothing coming from Ramsey there. McKennie on a bum hip. Yeah, just go for it, because Ramsey was just missing in action. 81st minute, Chiesa works in, and man, this is another one that hurts because he got in clear. He beat his man so nice. And again, Martinson, man, this keeper, he got out quick, made himself big, and shut the door, man. Made a big save. The volley attempt by Morata, fuck my life.
Straight to the net, straight to the goal.
Like,
oh, yeah, no, he completely missed it. Yeah.
Dude, he completely misses that thing, and I'm just like, man, it looked like he could have potentially settled it and just tried to, like,
I thought so, yeah.
Take a hit there. Like, he had some space to open up, but holy shit, man, he made a mess of that volley. Yeah, frustrating. 84th minute, and Marega coming very, very close back the other way with a warning shot, short side, trying to fool Szczesny there. 90th minute, I was watching this game at work, boys. I jumped out of my seat and I thought, here it is. There it is. So close, but Morata offside.
That's right.
And that's my bad. I need to know when Morata's involved to pump the brakes and hold up a bit. But that was close call. 92nd minute. This is the one that hurts the most because it would be a completely different discussion. Cuadrado cuts in, rips a beauty with his left off the bar. We're talking about inches of getting out there and dusting the tie and moving forward and being good. This one hurt. We go into extra time. In the 102nd minute, you got Kulusevski coming on for Artur. You got Bernardeschi coming on for Chiesa. I'm not taking Chiesa out of the match. If he took a knock, it looked like at one point he took a knock and then he was slipping up and starting to get a bit injured there. Maybe it was a precautionary thing, but he was really the one bringing it. It was tough, man. Like, did anybody else have that feeling like, man, if he goes out, are we going to get one? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like he ran out of gas. He ran out of gas.
He did.
He gave it all. He gave it all.
Oh, yeah, for sure he did.
More. He gave it even more.
Yeah.
What can you do? You have to take him off like that. At that time, he wasn't even. I even remember him taking a cross, and even the commentator was saying that there's no power into that. He's tired. He's on. He's like, yo, take me out, please. So
Yeah.
I don't blame people for taking it out.
No, and it's not to blame or anything, but it's just like you can't help but get that feeling because of how incredible he was with the drive and the fight. And it's just like, man, I didn't see another guy at that level. You know what I mean? And that's the frustrating part. HA saying now you're opening the wounds as you talk about every chance. This is what this match was, man. It was moments, and we just didn't capitalize on the moments we had. And I felt we didn't put them under enough. And around this point of the match, you can see it. It's all over Twitter. I don't want these. I don't want kicks. I don't want kicks. Careful what you fucking ask for. Because here we are in a free kick. Fucking way out. It's way out. Okay? I'm thinking, man, I wasn't even worried about it. Because it was quite a distance. He's lining up. Sergio's lining up. And you're thinking, man, he's obviously going to just belt this thing, put everything he has into it. The wall, just when you watch this, completely bitches out.
Yeah, I've seen the memes already. Some of them are really fucking funny, dude, but it's sickening to watch.
There's no way to put it through, but they bitched out, man. Yeah. Two guys jumping, one guy turning around, like, tough it out, man, for fuck's sake. I can't help but thinking of that picture way back in the day where you saw Pirlo just eyeing that fucking kick. Like, he's just like, everybody knows the meme where it's like the four players, whatever, and they're all like, oh shit, and they look scared, and Pirlo's just standing there like this. Just like, let's go. We just needed one guy to fucking do that, because you could probably just easily deflect that shot or just stop it or just not make it go. The one time, you don't see Cuadrado out there. But again, this kick was so far out. Would you really put a guy underneath? Like, no, I still expected if he's going to go under the wall, Szczesny will get there. And Szczesny got a good chunk into it. He should have probably stopped that, man. That's a frustrating one. Yeah. That's a frustrating fucking goal to bow out on.
They really had to jump that high. They really had to jump that high from that far.
No.
The way they jumped is like, yo, this is Del Piero taking a free kick or Ronaldo taking a free kick. It was so far. It was so far. They didn't need to jump that high.
Dude, like, you almost didn't even have to. If that guy's that far out, if he's lining up that hard for, he's gonna probably lace the fucking thing. So if he's gonna lace it, if you're Szczesny, man, like, you're almost thinking, okay, I can hug it pretty tight to the fucking wall, because the odds of him swerving that fucker to my left are slim to none, and you probably challenge that. So there's a good chance it's going to be tight to the wall somewhere. And that way, if it does go under or whatnot, okay, you block it. But I don't see a need for those guys to even jump, because if he's going to go at it and lace it, the odds of him lacing it and hopping it over and under from that distance are fucking slim to none. Like, the whole thing was a mess, man.
That was the worst way to lose the Champions.
And there you go. We bow out, and now here comes the shit show from absolutely everybody, man. And it kicks off with Del Piero and Capello starting to talk about this team. And honestly, I can't really blame them. And where the fuck are the leaders?
Yeah.
De Ligt, Chiellini, and De Ligt, Chiesa are the guys talking, are the faces here. And you know what? Rightfully fucking so, because the other guys didn't do it on the fucking pitch and weren't there. Bonucci's more vocal on the fucking bench than he is on the pitch. That shit frustrates me. And where are these fucking so-called leaders? And Capello literally saying, when it's going good, they want the credit, and when it's not, they're not speaking to the media. I have my thoughts about Capello, but it's hard not to agree with him in this situation.
Yeah, I agree.
De Ligt, when that goal goes in, that shitty free kick, everybody's down, everybody's pissed off, but he grabbed the ball and he ran it up. Everybody else was standing dead fucking still. Chiesa throughout this entire match. And what pissed me off is the amount of times Chiesa was taking heat from guys like Sandro, Ronaldo.
I saw that.
All these guys giving Chiesa shit. When really what should have happened is Pirlo saying, no, look to this fucking kid, okay?
Yeah.
because he's the one that's actually setting the example, and I put my trust in you guys to set the example. If you have to make a few friends butthurt and hurt their fucking feelings, you do it. But Chiesa embodied what everybody should have been, and he was the only one I saw it from. And De Ligt came in as a sub, and he gave it everything he fucking had, and he was the one that picked up the ball and said, let's fucking go. Rabiot, of course, gets that header on a corner. Too little, too late.
Oh,
You know,
yeah, it was
unfortunately,
it was still
we
dead.
tie it up on aggregates 4-4, but 2 away goals here's Porto through. But where are the leaders on here? You know, like this is crazy. And again, are we all in agreement with Capello? You know, you have to be almost. Where were these guys? Cristiano Ronaldo. Let's get to Cristiano Ronaldo. Okay? For me, there's no other way to look at this than it doesn't make sense anymore for a club to keep. We are not a club that can afford the luxury to have Ronaldo around anymore.
Mm-hmm.
We're not the club that can afford to have this guy around. You know, we don't have the depth. We have guys at makeshift positions. You can't afford to have them around anymore. You have to spread it out, in my opinion. I don't want to get into all these players like we have to get rid of all these guys or whatnot. It's just like, for me, you have to start making sense of the project. We're not in a win now mode. It doesn't make sense. He needs to go to a team that is kind of in win now, that has coverage and you know, doesn't have that issue to deal with, and he could do his thing. But for us, to not be honest with ourselves and say we lose something that we need when he's out there would be a lie, I think. And you know what? If you go back to Allegri, when Allegri brought him in, Allegri had a style, he had his play, but it needed the same out of every player. And he started to struggle in getting things to work the same with Ronaldo. People are, you know, his stats are incredible. Okay? Ronaldo's stats are incredible, but they almost mask this issue that's been what we need to make up for the roster. Is, you know, we needed a guy like Mandzukic that was busting his ass 2 ways. You know, like, you almost need every guy doing that extra little bit in his role. If you look at the Lazio match, yeah, it was one match against Lazio, but it highlighted what we need out of every single guy that's on the pitch. We do not have the luxury, because we have guys at makeshift positions, to keep them around, man. That's the way I feel. But you guys, let's kick it off with Ronaldo. Is it time to divorce?
Yeah, can I touch in on that? So
Yeah.
with Ronaldo, we had a 3-year window to get the most out of him. That was these 3 years. And in these 3 years, we panicked heavily in terms of management and recruitment. Because think about it. Ronaldo would have been perfect for a squad like 16-17 and 14-15. The squad was there. All we needed was that one extra person to get us over the line, because we were in the finals. However, we didn't have that game changer in the final. That was Ronaldo. We added Ronaldo, and in this period, we are shifting and changing squads for that don't even make sense. We're signing players for free, thinking that they're masterstroke signings. These are not players that Ronaldo was playing with at Real Madrid. Real Madrid signed him in 2009, and they built a squad from there up until 2013 when they won the Champions League, and then the 3P after that. They had their squad set. We do not have a squad set for us. This 3 years should have been the period where we signed players, top quality players, kept them and built them around Ronaldo. At this point, we cannot go into next season thinking about how do we build this team around him. He's turning 37 next year. In a period of time where we're rebuilding the squad, we cannot focus it around a 37-year-old striker who's reaching the end of his career. As well as he's scoring, we cannot start throwing all our eggs to accommodate him.
Yeah.
I love him. I love everything that he's done for the club. He's one of my favorite players of all time. But as much as I love him, we cannot go into next season thinking about how do we get the best out of Ronaldo.
Yeah.
Because we have 10 other players in this squad who are being played out of position to accommodate him. And he's not at an age where he can, he's not a 2007 or 2013 Ronaldo. He's a player that's at this moment in time pretty much dependent on delivery. But who do we have behind him to deliver for him?
Exactly.
We have Rabiot, Bentancur. We have Cuadrado putting in 32 crosses a game. Although it's, he did well yesterday, we should not be looking at our right back to provide for our striker. That is a huge problem. And it's been seen in the last 3 seasons how we've been playing that type of football because we do not have the players to accommodate him. Allegri, when Ronaldo came in, was playing cross ball into Ronaldo and Mandzukic. Sarri came in. We did not see Sarri ball. What did we see? We saw our fullbacks throwing in crosses. This season, we've signed Pirlo. What are we seeing? Players throwing in crosses. Why? Because we do not have the midfielders to supply Ronaldo, and our main source of creativity are our fullbacks because our midfield is just so weak.
Yeah. This is another thing through this game. There was multiple moments I found myself just absolutely fucking screaming because there was guys making runs. There was guys making moves. Our players that were on the ball aren't even looking at it. They're not even thinking of it. They don't even have that creativity or vision to even process what's happening. And it's so frustrating because you watch these other caliber clubs around the world, they have the guys that see it. Okay, and they're making those plays. They're making those moves. Everybody wants to talk about, and I firmly believe, you have to have a system. It's got to work, whatnot. But again, if you're putting a fucking square peg into a round cylinder, it doesn't fucking fit. It doesn't work. We're asking guys to do things they're not capable. And I've said a little while ago on this pod, I said, Cuadrado is so ridiculously, we're so ridiculously dependent to him because all the creativity shuts down when he's not in there. And his creativity is literally throwing crosses in there because the mids can't drive with the ball or suck in that extra D and make a move, slot through a through ball, they're not seeing it. They can't, they're not doing it. They can't. And I don't think you can change that out of these guys. People that say, hey, Pirlo can come in. Now all of a sudden, watch this guy splashing the ball around. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. You can't teach the vision. You know what I mean? Guys either have it or they don't. That's really what it comes down to. You can watch all sorts of midfielders. There's guys that have their heads on a swivel. They know when a guy's going to go, where he's going to go, and when to do it, when to unleash that ball. And a lot of other guys just don't have it. Ronaldo is not what we need, and we are not what he needs coming in from NJ. That pretty much sums her up. But Colin, Yamin, your guys on thoughts on Ronaldo? Is it time to divorce?
Ooh, is it time to divorce? You're really asking 2 questions there. And the first one takes me back to 1940. I think it might be. Would I renew him? I'm not going to say Ronaldo out, get him out of the club right now. I'm not on that. I've got to be a bit more respectful than that. The guy's record for us, even though, his record is fantastic. His numbers are great. But do we renew him in the current financial climate, considering the level of a rebuild that we need? And Raph got it right on the money. As a Juve supporter for the last 10 years, I've seen, one of the best midfields in Europe that we had in Marquisio, Vidal, Pirlo and Pogba. And at the time we were crying out for a centre forward. And it's gone the opposite way around now. We have the centre forward. We have 2 of them. We don't have a midfield. We don't have anything to. And if you don't have a midfield, you have nothing in the modern game. You have to, the best sides, every Champions League winning team that you look at the quality of the midfield that they have, and it's, you just cannot get away from it. You can't hide from it. As much as you can without, a top centre forward. You can almost get away with, having 2 or 3, almost semi-average centre forwards, and as long as your midfield and is contributing goals as well, you can almost get away with it, and that's been proven because we got to 2 Champions League finals. But so I mean, what do you do with Ronaldo? Like, you have to replace him. You can't.
Yeah,
just
but can you really justify extending him when we need so much work on the
No.
roster?
No. I can't.
That's kind of what it comes down to, Like I can't see it. I can't see it making sense right now anymore with a rebuild. Like, he needs to go to that win now situation. We're not it. MJ summed it up. We're not what he needs. He's not what we need. Yamin, what do you think?
I mean, I don't want to sound ungrateful like you guys said, but it is time. It is time.
Yeah.
He's not what we need right now. He's not. Yeah, like you said, a lot of coaches try to play around him, trying to build around him, but it's just not there. It's not working. We don't have the type of player like Modric or Xabi Alonso, intelligent midfielder, just intelligent midfielder. You don't have to be brilliant, but someone with some type of IQ. Look at Busquets, like prime Busquets was not a brilliant player, but he's an intelligent. You need that IQ in the midfield. A player who understood could read a game. We don't have that, no matter how you look at it. Since Pogba, we never had that. So I don't blame him. I'm not here gonna be like, I'm not gonna say Ronaldo is the problem, but it's not.
No,
It's not
it's
working.
not. It's not. It's not that he is the problem. It's just the fact that
It's not working.
We can't afford that luxury.
Mm-hmm.
That's how it comes down to. We're not set up in all the other areas to be able to have a guy like that.
That's what I mean. That he is not the problem. It's
there's a bunch going on, and now like the questions even come up now in the chats here about Dybala. Does Dybala get put into that mix? And for me, I have a tough time with this too, because number one, he's been out for all this year, but a lot of fans say that is part of the problem, is the amount of matches he misses and in key situations. But what's your guys' thoughts on Dybala? Is it time to separate there as well?
I don't think so. I don't think Dybala is the only light that I can see in the future right now. Like, he's the only creative player that we have. He's the only player who can improvise in moments and makes magic out of nothing. He connects plays too. Like, he doesn't have to, but he does it. He fights for the team. He is that guy. He is our number 10. Like, he is the embodiment of Juventus. We cannot get rid of this guy. If we get rid of this guy, I don't know who's gonna replace him. Gonna be who's the replacement? I wouldn't get rid of Dybala right now.
Raph, Dybala.
I don't know, because I can't judge Dybala off of this season because of how crazy it's been. Like, he's had that injury before the season started, as well as COVID before the season started, and he kind of had to come in to a team where Ronaldo was out because of COVID, and he was thrown in the deep end right off the back of a long-term injury. And in that period, he obviously struggled, and that obviously took a knock on his confidence. In that run from November to December, he was off the pace by a lot. And then all of these things come out about, the sum he wants for his contract renewal. And a lot of it plays into what do we do with him. Off of his time from 2015 to last season, I would say, of course, keep him. Like, last season, he was our driving force in the attack. He was, like, if it wasn't Ronaldo, it was Dybala bailing us out. And I don't know. I really don't know, because it's a thing where it just depends on what the squad want to do with the rebuild. And personally, if we get rid of Dybala, we have to replace him with a player that's going to come in. He's going to be here for the long term and have an instant impact. Because right now we can't afford to bet on, the future. We need players that we'll look for in the future, and a player that will come in and have an impact right now. Right now, our attack needs impact. If we get rid of him, if we can somehow use him in a similar deal to how Paratici wanted to do with Lukaku, Dybala plus cash for a player like Haaland. Other than that, how do we replace a player that's given us so much in this time based off one season? And again, it also plays into how much he's demanding next season. Like, if he's asking for 15 million, can we afford to give him that much money with this season in mind on how unreliable he's been?
Yeah, and we were talking before we even came on air about what happened a few mercados ago, where we had a couple of true fullbacks, and we got rid of both, and shorthanded ourselves. If we are not going to be extending Ronaldo, would it not make sense to at least keep Dybala around for the sake of that, rather than try to replace both? But, Lewis brings up a point, and this is what I said, is now it's come to the reliability. And he says when your second best player isn't fit for 2 to 3 years, you have a problem, and you can't rely on that, and it comes down now, his reliability is being in question. And over the past years, it's kind of mounted up, and there's been a couple seasons, I think, in crucial moments of the season, he hasn't been available, which is tough, right? So it's the reliability thing that's also really starting to make fans wonder, right? Colin, what's your take on the whole thing? Does the reliability factor in heavily there? But if we're all kind of in an agreement that, it could be time to not extend CR, does it make sense to get rid of both?
No, it doesn't, and I'll explain to you why. Obviously, one, you got to replace the guy. Got to replace the kid, and even if we keep him, like we're struggling to sign top quality players that are creative, and he is creative. I personally think he's been played out of position for quite a while. For me, when he signed from Palermo, he was a centre forward. He was a support striker, and his best season for Juve, it was when he played up top with Mandzukic. If you remember the yellow jersey at the time, I think he scored 21 goals. I could be wrong, 1 or 2 either side. But and he's been moved around and given the number 10 role. That was Dybala 21 at the time. And for me, his best characteristic has always been his finishing. And you don't put a guy with those characteristics out the field. He's got to be close to goal. He's ineffective. It's like what we talked about Chiesa against, in the previous couple of games, we were screaming for Chiesa. We've got to get him close to goal. Somehow, however Pirlo could do it, just get him there. He's got to be there, and he was there last night and he got the bloody goals. So, about Dybala, another reason why you don't get rid of him is right now his market value has dropped a lot. And you try and insert him in a deal to get someone like Haaland, and while clubs will appreciate his talent, they're going to say, hold on a minute, this guy's been injured for God knows how long. He only scored 11 goals last year. He got the MVP, but he only scored 11 goals in Serie A. So, right, okay, maybe they won't take him. Do you know what I mean? So his market value has dropped. It has dropped for one reason or another. So you extend him and you have to build him back up. But
yeah, I can't help but feel in that setup we saw against Lazio, I would fucking just love to see Morata up top with Chiesa and Dybala in those teams. I gotta see it, right? But I get the frustrations with fans. And you Colin, you said he hasn't been really used in position, but it's almost like it's hard to fit him in to certain lineups, right? But that setup that we played against Lazio would make sense to have him out there in that role that Kulusevski filled, and then Chiesa opposite with Morata at the top of that trident. That would be an option. A fan here wants us to talk about Morata. Simply put, he just put Morata is shit. I don't necessarily agree with that, and I think that's so harsh. He struggled yesterday, but I don't think he struggled as much as a guy that's making quite a bit more than him. Your guys' takes on Morata? I know he's on loan. We have the option to loan him again and not have to purchase. And yeah, you guys take. I know that someone else put a comment there. Can we bring Romero back? The problem with the Romero deal is Atalanta has the option to purchase him for 18 million euro, which hurts. So Morata, guys, is he shit?
No, that's
No.
madness. Whoever said that.
Yeah. He just really, really struggled yesterday, and he got robbed
I don't think.
once. Keeper played a good game. This is not the first time we've seen a keeper play over his head against Juve. Chiesa had a couple opportunities there in there tight. This was just moments, man. We weren't able to capitalize. Yamin, what do you think? You kind of chuckled there on the whole Morata thing, and this fan just being a little harsh there.
Nah, I don't think he's shit. He just needs to work on his finishing. Sometimes his decision making, like, it costs us games. Like, if you look against the early chance he had against Porto, like, he could have finished that better.
Yeah.
He even could have done better in that second chance that he got on the far post when he just chested the ball down and just smashed it straight at the goalkeeper. He could have done better. So, but he contributes a lot into dribbling and running out wide and tiring other defenders. So I wouldn't call him shit, to be honest. He's trying his best. He's doing what he's, as for a striker, he's doing more than he should.
Yeah. Lewis coming in here, 17 goals, 13 assists is hardly shit, you know? And then Idris coming in saying Morata is kind of protected by the fans for what he did 5 years ago. And for me, I can't agree in terms of when I look at this team play. I see him such a key point. Such a key point for Juventus as a target man or whatnot. And we talked about how Porto flooded our front two forwards. He literally was the only one out of those two that was getting in those opportunities, getting in those spaces, finding chances. I think it's harsh on him. But I think we need to move from the actual players and maybe talk about Pirlo and management. Because this is one of the things, you know, how much do we put on Pirlo? You know, this is another thing too. It's like, I feel like it's harsh on him when he can't physically lace up the boots, go out there and get the shit done. You know, ultimately, we talk about attitude, the approach, mentality. As a coach, he can talk about it, but that's about all he can really do. It's up to the players to step out there and actually fucking put forth what they need to. And I know that people will probably say, well, think back to Allegri's time when we were asking for the same thing and saying, hey, he's falling flat, the team's becoming stale. But the difference is you had a window. You had a 5-year space. Okay? And then you bring in Sarri. Nothing changes. Not really. Almost nothing changes from Allegri's last year to Sarri's. And the guys don't like him. You can't change a whole locker room.
That's huge.
You know? So you switch Sarri. You bring in a guy like Pirlo. Pirlo has, history with the club. He suits the mold, so to speak. He's got decent beliefs in football, what he wants to achieve. But now you're still struggling with mentality, with approach. It cannot still and always be on the manager. And again, we go back to this match. Where are your leaders? Where are they?
Yeah.
Those guys have had it too fucking cushy, in my opinion. A lot of players on this club have had it too cushy. You can give me a fraction of what Aaron Ramsey makes. I'll give you exactly what he did yesterday against Porto. I might actually give you a little more. I mean, maybe I'm selling myself short. But seriously. And he's making a lot of fucking money. And he ain't, like, these guys have it so good at Juve. And that's why we fuck ourselves over and then we can't move these guys. But the leaders, Bonucci, we talked about it earlier. Yamin brought it up. Why bring him back? Benatia was playing well.
I still don't understand it.
Yeah.
Benatia was class. He was a brilliant player.
Benatia was playing well. He took over it's like, okay, yeah, we're done. You made your choice. Fucking go. It's almost like losing your spine to bring this guy back.
Yeah.
And
we had the
slowly
replacement.
but surely we started allowing these guys based on status to almost dictate that we were going to lose that ruthlessness. So here's the thing. While many of us get attached to players and we feel a certain way about what they did to Marquisio, what they did to how it went down with Del Piero, all this stuff, whatever, I can deal with that if we're bringing in fucking quality. And if we're going to be ruthless, let's keep that ruthlessness, but let's make sure on the pitch it shows dividends. I haven't seen it show dividends. You know? Guys, what do you think here? Like, are we losing our spine? How much is on management ahead of Pirlo?
Yeah, like I think when you look at this team, you can criticize it heavily. Very few of these players are Pirlo's players. Like you have to accept that he has only chosen a small handful of these players. Everything has been inherited. The shit has been inherited, like Ramsey with a massive contract. The midfield issues. He's inherited all that.
Yeah.
He's had a month in January to try and fix it, and and also a global financial and public health crisis hindering him as well. So we just have to give him time. I can't really be too hard on him. I said at the start, 4 huge errors really allowed Porto access into this game, and their tactics from there on were good, but we let them into the game. We did let them into the game. They decided to play with 6 across the back, a la Jose Mourinho, and it worked. But we let them into the game. We didn't have the guys on the field that had the mental strength, the mentality, and the game intelligence to realize you can't do those things. Like there's a free kick. We're in extra time. You can't be fucking about. Everything has to be absolutely nailed down to the nth degree. Communication from the goalkeeper, the fucking guys in the wall. Take the hit. You're in a knockout stage of a fucking Champions League. I don't care if you break your nose. Take the hit. That's. I mean, look at guys like Chiellini in the past. How many times did he break his nose for us?
Colin, sorry to cut you off. Somebody's got a little bit of a background noise from a microphone. Maybe just check everybody's setup there and just see.
It sounds like a typing sound or something like that.
Yeah, there's a crackling there. I just noticed on the chat here. So maybe just check mics and whatnot. So sorry, Colin, continue on, or maybe we mute.
Yeah, I think I'm good on my side, but yeah, I mean, I'm obviously very passionate about Juventus, and I do not want Juventus to become a Barcelona or Real Madrid or a Chelsea, where we sack a manager every year to mask the errors of upper management. You can't bring a guy in and like a lamb to the slaughter. You just can't do that. They knew everything starting off. They knew all the issues, and most of them are not Pirlo's problem. He's got to actually try and fix them, but they're not his responsibility.
Yeah, I want to ask Raph and Yamin about this comment coming in from AJ saying Pirlo has been given too many excuses because he's a charismatic club legend. Imagine if we got those results with Sarri or Allegri. I'm going to start it off with Yamin here before we get to Raph on that comment from AJ. How do you feel there, man?
It's hard to blame Pirlo for anything that is going on, and I still do not understand his appointment. None of us understand that. I feel that's the fail on the management. I feel the managers, they want a coach that said he's a yes man. They need a yes man. Any coach that butt headed with them, they got rid of him. We understand why Conte demanded players, and when he didn't get the players, he said, "F you, I'm gone." They got Allegri. Allegri was a yes man. Let's be honest. Allegri was like, "Yo, whatever I have right now, I'm trying to do my best with what I have right now," and he did that brilliantly with a squad that was, let's be honest, not even. He competed on Champions League when we had no business to compete in Champions League with those kind of squads. The third manager was Sarri. They brought Sarri to play more beautiful football, and we know that Sarri has one style of football. We know he has established style of football that he came for, and that's why we brought him to Juventus. And when he saw the reality, we all remember when he said that this team is uncoachable. It's uncoachable. The style that he tried to to um to bring to Juventus did not work. It just did not work. It was like, these players are not what I want. So here goes back to the management. Did the management actually not give him the players that he wanted to execute his style? And then when things did not work, got to bounce and bring in Pirlo, who's a yes man. So I don't feel it was any of the managers or previous managers or even the current manager Pirlo's fault for anything. I think it starts with the management. They just want a yes man who just sits there and takes any players that they bring into the club and expect him to work magic. That's how I feel about it.
Yeah, and this is the thing here. And guys, just so you know, to avoid the crackling, I'm gonna be controlling microphones and whatnot. So don't worry, you don't have to touch anything on your end. Raph, your thoughts on is Pirlo protected?
Okay, so I want to first start off by literally just reading quotes from just news on our past three managers. So before Allegri was sacked, this is from Sky. There will be a third meeting tomorrow. The parties will see if an agreement can be found. Allegri wants a significant restyling of the squad. The management team think the team is already strong. Should an agreement be found, Allegri will renew with Juventus. He didn't get that restyling of the squad and he was out. The next season, Sarri comes in. He obviously didn't get his squad. He was playing Sarri ball with Matuidi and Bentancur in the midfield. This comes out. You send me away, but the team is untrainable. These were Sarri's last words to the management. He says the team are untrainable. Earlier this season, Pirlo comes out and says, this is from Romeo Agresti, we have few players with strong personality, a strong statement, and a point to think about. That's what Romeo Agresti said. So these three managers have all said there's an issue with the squad. Allegri wanted the restyling. Sarri said they're untrainable. Pirlo said they're mentally weak. Then I'm going to go to earlier this season, from this earlier Mercato. Pirlo he was very clear about these three players. We all saw the reports. He wanted Locatelli. We didn't get Locatelli. He wanted a Depaul or Aouar. We didn't get either one of them. He wanted two strikers. He got one. And he wanted a left back or a left wing back. He didn't get that. The only player he got was Chiesa. And he's the one that's been putting in the shift. These last three coaches have all asked for the squad to be reshaped. None of that has happened. Allegri is an anomaly because the management would give him a squad and he'd make the most out of it. He'd win with the squad. He always changed his formations. First season, it was the diamond. Second season, it was 3-5-2. The season after that, 4-2-3-1, 4-3-3. We went back to the diamond in his last season. Sarri came in with a fixed system. He's obviously going to want the players to play his system. He didn't get that. That's why we ended up playing crossing football. We all wanted Sarri ball, but he can't do that with Matuidi as much as I love Matuidi as well. We couldn't play that style of football with him. The management didn't provide. Pirlo this season comes in with his requests. He gets one, which is Chiesa and Morata, but he wanted a second striker, which they didn't end up getting for some reason because Moise Kean was there, but the management said if it's not with Dzeko, Keane's not coming in. So we went into the season with one striker, Morata. Then in the winter time, we were linked with Scamacca. We didn't get Scamacca because the finances were too high. And then we're seeing Kulusevski being forced into a striker position. And then when we're dropping points because Kulusevski is not a striker and he's putting in bad performances, then Pirlo gets the heat. Who was critical of Sarri last season, and now I'm seeing that, you know what? I'm not even going to blame Sarri for our shortcomings last season because, you know, he was not done justice from the board. And now, as much as I hate Conte, I understand what he was saying before he left, because this management do not give the coaches the players that they need to succeed. We're being given makeshift players and free signings, free players like Rabiot and Ramsey, who are not starting for their respective teams when they were playing. Emre Can, who was not starting for Liverpool. Rabiot, who was not starting for PSG. Ramsey, who Arsenal fans did not want in their team anymore. We're signing them thinking they're master signings because they're free and we can just slot them into our squad because they played for big European clubs. We're giving them to managers and saying, yo, do what you need to do. But they can't, because these are not players that they want or need.
Yeah.
And that's the failings. That's why this season, the fans have been like Agnelli, Paratici, Nedved yesterday when he was kicking the board. Fans were like, yo, you can kick it all you like, but this is the team that you assembled.
And this is the thing, and Idris comes in saying, get Tichy and Nedved out, and you'll see how things change for the better. And I can't help but feel the same way. I talked about it early on in this pod. I said, look, like, there comes a point where you have to stop going at the head and start looking a little bit deeper. We can't just keep creating a coaching carousel and say, yeah, this is fine. This is what you got to deal with. At some point, you have to realize we have fallen off our ways of replacing guys with equal or better quality. We have been downgrading ourselves for quite some time. It's been many years, you know, and again, the list is all over the roster with all these makeshift positions and guys filling in where they don't need to be. It's collateral damage, really, like what Antonio was saying in the comments. You know, the board need to look at themselves before they just throw things on Pirlo, because now this is literally the third manager, and Raph did a really good job of highlighting all these scenarios. And honestly, I question how we build teams anymore, and it's almost like we're not building teams and that we're doing just patchwork through mercados.
We're firefighting. That's what we're doing.
Patchwork that needs to stop. And it's hard for me to put it all on Pirlo, and I guess the way Raph put it is, now looking back, maybe what Sarri was saying, right, it was right, and maybe in his way, because of how blunt and how big of an asshole he is, that's what kind of sparked him to lose the players, because he flat out called it and said it. He said, fuck, these guys are untrainable. That's a crazy strong statement, man. And he said it and he threw it out there. And obviously the players are not going to like him, but the guy's been coaching for a while. Maybe he was right. You know? And Colin, AJ comes in and wanted to ask you and said, you say the players are not Pirlo's players, so he's not to blame. So would you say the same about Sarri?
No. There's huge differences. Huge differences. Sarri never had the respect of the players, never had the respect of the dressing room, didn't get on with Ronaldo, and he's as much to blame for the team being uncoachable as the players. Like, when he's saying that, hold on a minute. Like, if you think about it in a general life situation, when someone's complaining, making a big statement like that, some part of your mind is thinking, hold on a minute, why is this guy complaining so much? Why does he have to say this to the press? Is it because he's struggling? Is there a part of it because he's actually struggling? And that's the fact of it. That is the fact. He struggled to coach that team. He's in charge of doing that. He's the coach. He's supposed to coach that team. He's not supposed to throw his players under the bus. You're never supposed to do that. And you do that at a club like Juventus, and they will cut you off as quick as they can. And they did. And I agree. I would, like, if I was working under a manager in my general life and he hung me out to dry like that, boom, I'm looking for a new job. And that's, I don't blame the players. So it's a different situation.
How you go about it. It's one thing to think that, the way he did it, obviously players would react in that certain manner. Yamin, your thoughts on the whole thing in Sarri? Was he right? And do you hold anything kind of for him now, looking back?
Yeah, he shouldn't have thrown anybody under the bus. That's 100%. You shouldn't do that.
Yeah,
Whatever happens behind the scenes, as a professional, even if you want to go on with your career, a lot of teams might not look the other way because they know what the type of coach you are. Once things go rough, you're gonna come out and speak to the media. That's not how you should be doing it. But at the same time, I feel his frustrations, because he wasn't the typical coach. He coached in Napoli, and we know how they do things in Napoli. So the guy was, even when he got appointed by Juventus, we were all shocked. It's like, Sarri, Juventus? I don't know if that's gonna work. And that was proven. That was proven to be right. That he just did not fit a Juventus. He was not made to coach a team like Juventus and the things that we stand for. And they brought him to play this beautiful football, that one touch, smooth, silky passing here and there. And I understand the need for that in the modern football, and to attract more fans right now, because the style that we play under Allegri, although it was effective, it was not it wasn't easy on the eye. We were winning, but a lot of us were still complaining. I was like, nah, this is not how we should be playing football. Although football is moving forward. If you look at Europe, football was fast paced, counter attack, and we were just sitting back and whatever we get the chance, capitalize on mistakes. That was Allegri. When but I also feel for Sarri. I feel for Sarri because I feel the management failed him just like they failed Allegri and they failed Conte when they asked for
yeah.
players. That's what it comes down to. Even Pirlo right now, same thing. Pirlo needed players, like Raph said, not there.
Yeah, and I'm
Let's also not
starting to
forget.
kind of
I
feel
was gonna
that
say,
way. Sorry, Raph, go ahead.
yeah, I was gonna say, let's also not forget that Pirlo this season also has not had a preseason. He's come into the season with the formation that he's come out with through his trial of becoming a coach, and he actually hasn't had time to implement anything. So it would be so unfair and unjust to Pirlo to, one, not give him his players, two, not actually give him at least an extra season to implement and find out an actual system for this team. He was thrown in the deep end as well off the back of the sacking of Sarri. He comes in after being originally the under-23 coach, hasn't coached a single game for the under-23s, and he's supposed to come and lead this club to Champions League and Scudetto with Inter, having built this team for however many years now. It's ridiculous to expect that much from Pirlo at this moment in time. Next season, if he's given the preseason and the players and he comes short, we can ask questions to him. But right now, we're going to point fingers at a manager with zero experience being handed a makeshift squad and given zero time to actually find his style of football.
Yeah, and Anthony comes in here saying, if you change management, that may bring a short-term period of instability in players' eyes who may want to come here. Careful what you ask for. But I think the other side of that is equally as strong. Who wants to come into the mess that we have going on right now? Because that's clear as day. Who wants to come into a side that's repeatedly bowing out to teams that they shouldn't be? Who wants to come to a team that is starting to create a bit of a coaching carousel, where players are in an extreme hot seat, yet their leaders don't need to be the ones addressed? I think there's a good argument for both sides. I think if they do make a change in the management, I think it shows the willingness to spot issues and address them. So I think there's a catch to both sides. Sure, it may look like a bit of instability there, or you see a team addressing what they feel needs to be dealt with. And I think upper management cannot be free and clear on where we stand. Again, the history is there with these managers. And no matter whose side any of these fans are on, if you're on Sarri's side, if you're on Allegri's side, Raph laid it out. Every manager has said the same thing about this group. It's time to act on it. And who ultimately is to blame for that? How many coaches could we possibly go through while these guys still have a job and we still have questions about the players on the roster? Who's
Yeah.
responsible for the players on the roster? You know,
Just to
that's
come in on that,
pretty clear there.
yeah, just to come in on that, I think the major job that needs to be done on this squad is actually not the players we bring in. I think that takes care of itself. I think the major job that needs to be done on this squad is getting rid of the guys we have on loan. If we can, and that's what's, I kind of want to give a balanced view on the upper management issues. While it was their mistake, and some of it goes back to Morata, who's now with Inter, to give contracts to guys like Higuain and Mandzukic, and
I see Yamin's face there, and he's already fired up there with these extensions.
Yeah, and guys who just wouldn't leave. I mean, we talked about Aouar. I'm not sure who mentioned it. Aouar was supposed to come. There was a deal in place. It was reported high and wide by everybody. There was a deal in place. The thing that held it up was Bernardeschi. Bernardeschi was supposed to go, and he refused to go. He just refused to go. You saw statements coming from Berna saying how much he loves Juve, all this, and that was the PR to kind of say, no, I want to stay, but he refused to sign that contract. So, I mean, how do you get around that? I really don't know, but it is a management issue. You have to be able to deal with these situations. You can't sign guys on forever contracts on massive money and not be able to shift them on. I mean,
yeah, they need to start looking themselves in the mirror, basically, and they need to start holding themselves accountable, and it can't always be pointing the fingers. That's basically what it's come down to. Lewis comes in with guys, legit question: if the manager was sacked, who actually would take this job at the moment? Mediocre players, poor financials, high expectations. It's a hot seat, and I've been saying for a while, I actually give credit to Pirlo for having the balls to take on the job. That's ballsy for your first gig to say, hey, I'm going to come in and step in there. And again, when we factor in all this, if we can look at ourselves and answer this one question, if you can say yes to this, then I think Pirlo should take more of the blame. Almost €1 billion have been won through Champions League over the past decade by Juventus. Does our roster reflect that?
And that's part of the problem. From what was said earlier, when you can't shift out players on huge contracts like Ramsey and Rabiot, that is a problem in the recruitment. You're signing mediocre players, giving them wages that they shouldn't be earning, playing for the club that they shouldn't be playing for. And then when you want them to leave, of course they're going to refuse. They're living the life right now. They're playing with Ronaldo. They're earning 200,000 a week. Why would they want to leave a team like Everton?
Exactly. And Turin's a beautiful place to live. Like these players have a good life. Like they don't get harassed there on the streets or anything by any means. And, Yamin's face when I asked that question was just priceless. Like, dude, honestly, can any one of us say, yes, this roster reflects a team that has won €1 billion off of Champions League over the past decade? No.
Simply no. No, not at all. It's again, it's the strategy in the mercado. It's never what the team needs. It's the opportunity that we got. Every time they see an opportunity, they're just gonna take the player without knowing where he's gonna fit.
Exactly.
I have nothing against the players. I have nothing against the players. Very decent players, very good players. But where do they fit? When a player comes out, there is no other player to replace him. When Arthur is out, who's there to replace him? The manager does not think about that. They don't think about replacing other players. They have a solid system where they have to take a player and put another player in his place that might bring the same attributes or skills that this guy had before him. If you look at Liverpool, Ox goes out, Keita comes in, Henderson comes in. They all rotate among themselves. Same thing with City. With Juve,
When we lose Ronaldo, who's there? When we lose Morata, who's there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is it, right? It's depth, it's quality, but more importantly, it's the team. We've gotten away from building the team. They've handcuffed themselves with extensions that force them to lose guys at positions that we shouldn't have been surrendering at that time. And we've pigeonholed ourselves season after season after season. You go into one season getting rid of Marquisio, leaving yourself down a substitute at a midfield position where you play three of them at the time. Mind blowing. Why the fuck are you doing that? You go into the next season. Sandro, who's already been on a bit of a struggle and a slight decline, you lose two left backs, you don't even bring one in, or you do and then loan him out immediately. When you have two perfectly capable, serviceable options, you leave him with no coverage and run him ragged for an entire season. You have guys getting to a certain age that are losing value to other clubs. You extend them. Why? If you're already in a position where the market is so low for that player, why are you extending them and raising the pay? And the frustrating part was we did it to 3 players in the same fucking season.
Yeah.
Before the season was anywhere near done. Why? So like all these things mount up and you can't keep going after coaches. So one of the questions that came in off Twitter there was, where do you start in terms of reshaping this club? Where do you stand on a reset? You know, CR leaving, Bonucci, you know, how do you do this? But the problem is the climate that we're in right now financially. Okay.
Yeah.
This is going to make this Mercado very, very difficult. It's not going to be easy. So part of me in the last little bit has had a soft spot for upper management because it's hard and they've done okay recently, but it's too hard to correct all the shit they did before that because of COVID and stuff now. So they have to be really, really smart as of now moving forward, how they act and the players that they bring in and whatnot and how they're going to make that work. It's going to be very, very challenging. Realistically, guys, could we see enough of what we need in this summer mercado? I believe we won't. I believe we can. Do you guys think we can do it in the summer mercado? Who's going to be buying these guys?
Yeah.
We still have all these guys coming back from loan too. You have DeShilio, Rugani, Douglas Costa to still deal with. I'm saying buckle up. It's gonna be a little bit of a rough patch there, but I can't see it all being solved in one mercado. But there's a guy that can help us out, and it's Mirko Di Natale, and he's going to be coming Saturday live, and he is probably going to be walking into a shitstorm of questions from all us Juventini, and I'm gonna pick his brain on management. I'm going to pick his brain on this club and try and get as much of an inside look. But this is live, and it's going to be open to all of us fans to get in there and ask your questions. My good friend Rocco Fasano is going to be the translator. And guys, this is going to be the guy to pick his brain. Chiellini's come out today. It appears like it's reported he's going to be retiring. And again, guys, we can't bank on. We need to it's time to cut cords, I think. You know,
I think there's one point to be made about the structure of the club and the football side of things. Last October, Juventus announced a restructure in terms of our upper management. They created a new role, which was the football director, and they moved Paratici out of direct responsibility for the first team and put him in a global sense in charge of football at the club, and he reports directly to Agnelli. Now they moved Cherubini into his role, so Cherubini is technically our chief scout right now, Paratici, he was traditionally a scout. He was a scout under Morata with Sampdoria, and Cherubini was involved there too. So, what does that mean for us? It means Juve recognised these issues, and they've tried to restructure. Now, we haven't had, like, Paratici's last mercato was pre-season. That was his last mercato, and October they made the change. January is never an environment where you can get deals done. I think the test of that change comes this summer. What has Cherubini been doing? He's supposedly a very, very good guy from what I've heard. I think what I will say is I think Agnelli recognises the things that we're talking about, and I think he's made some effort. We don't know yet if it's enough, and we don't know if other guys need to go. Like maybe Nedved needs to go, maybe Paratici needs to go altogether. But I know he's been taken away from direct responsibility for the first team.
Yeah, and it's going to
It's
be
a fact.
interesting because I want to pick Mirko Di Natale's brain about the landscape of that side entirely because, that change happened earlier this season, like Colin touched on, and it's going to be interesting to see. Guys, this is a really, really tough one. The frustration is out there for Juventini. We continue going out in this round to teams we should be getting by. The way that we bow out is even more frustrating. And this is, again, something that how many coaches do you go through when we just lack the approach, the mentality, and that drive? When your young guys step into this team and they're the ones showing it, every leader's got to man up, take a look at themselves in the mirror, and just realize it isn't good enough. And it's time to separate. Whether or not the team can will be interesting with the current market and whatnot. But guys, fuck, where do we go from here? You know, like it's a tough one. The frustration's out. We all dreaded covering this match and talking about it because there's just so many bad feelings. But I think it's got check time for this club. How they move forward from here is going to be critical, you know? Honestly, they've got quite a bit of work to do. And these next, how they follow up now is going to be big, you know? And I see a lot of fans are asking, you know, like, why is Agnelli not talking? Why is Nedved not talking? Like after this loss, you know, where are the leaders? Where are the players? Let's give it some time here. Let's see what actually comes from it. This is a big blow. Honestly, I didn't see it coming. I thought we would get by this match. I never saw us going out in this match. You know, I thought for sure. I remember talking to all these guys through DMs, and I mean, Yamin and I spoke, and we said, man, you know, they give it the right approach. You know, a lot of us had that feeling like Atletico. You know, we're gonna get through here. We're gonna make it, but yeah, it's not amounting to what we need on the pitch. Players need to be held accountable. If your players aren't there, the guys that are in charge of bringing in those guys, they got to start answering some questions. So let's give it time. Let's see how the team rebounds. Let's see how they act. And again, assess everything once it's all said and done and dusted. Scudetto race. Guys, how we feeling? Will Merda be dropping enough for us to get in there? What do you think?
I don't think Antonio Conte is gonna let this go. I don't think they're gonna let it go. He figured out a way to win games. He knows how to win games right now, and he's done it with Juventus. And I don't think he's gonna let go of that lead. Juventus, it's really up to us at the end of the day. We gave away too many points to teams that we shouldn't be even on paper. We shouldn't be even in competing with them.
Yeah.
So it falls on us, but at this time, I don't feel Inter deservedly. I don't want to say this, but they deserve it. They deserve it.
Yeah. Raph, what do you think?
For me, fino alla fine is something that I stick by, you know. There's still a lot of games to be played in the season. We still have to play Inter at our place as well. For me, Inter also have quite a few big games coming up. They're still playing Napoli. They still need to play Roma. They still need to play us at our place. And this is all coming in the last like 5 or so games in the season. If the Lazio decision from early in the season gets overturned and we get those 2 extra points, plus we win our game in hand, we're right back in it, you know. But also at the same time, we need to take into consideration how well Inter Milan are doing. Right now, I'd put them as the favourites, but I'm not going to say the season is finished because, you know, we're Juventus. We've always fought to the end, even against, you know, like ridiculous odds.
Yeah, there's still...
It's in Inter's favour, but we can still do something. But for right now, my priority, I said it before the season started, the way I see things going is a trophy and top 4. I think we can get top 2. Those are my expectations already fulfilled, you know.
Yeah. Colin, you see Conte dropping the ball here?
Yes. Pazza Inter.
All right.
Something a la 2002.
Oh, fuck, that would really make up for this one. I tell you that. I'm
praying
if we get another situation like that come May, we're gonna get this same panel back up so that at least we can flip the tide. I'll tell you that much, guys. All in all, been great chatting with you guys. We got one last question that came in, and it said, "Love to hear what signings would make you guys hopeful for next season." Yamin, what signing would make you hopeful? You know, like what would pick you up?
Oh, we're desperate for Pogba. We're desperate for all-around midfielder. A guy with a flair, long shots, assist, strength, distribution. We need Pogba. He's the type of player that we're missing right now. And if we see Pogba in our, that would be 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10 signing.
Raph, what signing picks you up, picks your spirits up?
I have about 3 that I want to see 100%. Locatelli, everyone knows I'm a Locatelli fan. We need that regista in the base of our midfield. 2, I want to see Pogba come in, but my concern is finances, how the deal is going to get done, and also the wages that he's going to be on. We right now, unless Ronaldo goes out, we can't afford that. So my alternative, I've been tweeting about him all season as well, is Depol from Udinese. He gets goals. He's one of the top creators in Europe, like not even just in the league, in Europe in terms of chances created. For the finances and wages that he'll be on, he is a great alternative to Pogba. Awa as well, and for me, Moise Kean. I've been a Moise Kean fan since, you know, he first came in 2016, 17 as a cameo. Get him in as our backup, if not starting striker, because why can't he start for us if he's starting for PSG, who are flying right now?
Yeah. No, that's all good shouts, man. Like I say, I just we're sticking with that midfield, man. We're sticking with that midfield. Colin, one signing that picks you up.
I kind of agree with the guys. I mean, Pogba, just for his numbers, for his stature, for his physicality, for, you know, chances created, goals. I mentioned it earlier. We need goals from midfield. You can't just have sterile midfielders. You know what I mean? You can't have guys who just shift the ball left to right and do nothing else. You have to have goals. Yeah, I like the Paul, Awar, 100%, Locatelli, 100%. You know, it just seems a bit unrealistic to me. I've almost lost faith that we could create enough room, both financially and in terms of spots on the roster, that we could accommodate that and do this kind of a job in such a short time. If they do it, you have to say hats off to them. You'd have to, but I don't know. One other profile that I want to mention that we don't always talk about, because, you know, we always talk about creativity in midfield, but for me, one profile we miss is an enforcer. We miss someone who is just a boss, someone who can really, really boss a midfield. Someone almost like Kante. I love Kante. Absolutely love him. I know he's had a couple. He's dipped for the last couple of seasons, but I don't care. The guy's done it for France. He's done it for Leicester City. He did it for Chelsea. He's a player I would really, really like.
Yeah. And MJ coming in, fullbacks.
I was just about to say something. I have two names. One, of course, Gosens from Atalanta.
Yeah.
And another one that I've been hearing about that we've been scouting for a while, and I've also like checked out some of his games because I've been really encouraged. He's a Porto right back, funnily enough, but he's on loan at Reading. His name is Estevez, and he's pretty much Cancelo 2.0. And Cancelo, whether or not the deal was a good deal, I think all in all, the way Danilo's been playing, I haven't been complaining.
Yeah.
But Estevez, if you guys can check him out and also just keep an eye on him, if you actually do make a move, I think he'd be a great signing for relatively cheap, I'd say.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've read about him, Raph.
With the Cancelo deal, like I said, it's not necessarily Cancelo. It's the fact that you had two, Spinazzola and Cancelo, and you got rid of both. You didn't even keep one of them. You know, that's my biggest thing.
No,
with
they
that
kept Dicilio.
Yeah. We fucking kept Dicilio for fuck's sake. Yeah, well, that sums it up, and that's how we're gonna end this one, I guess. Spot. But Georg comes in and says, if we win the league this season, we'll win the Scudetto forever. And that is true. If we can pull it off somehow this year, we'll never lose that fucking thing. But guys, all in all, it's been good chatting with you and trying to make sense of where we're at. And ultimately, for the Juventini listening and whatnot, it's one of those things. The team is going to act. They have to.
Yeah.
3 consecutive seasons of bowing out the way we have. There's no question there will be repercussions. The question is, and before we all jump to all these crazy conclusions and speculation, all this, wait to see what moves they actually make. I would be completely shocked if we didn't see a change in upper management. There will be a structural change there. There's no way they can get around it. As the media continues to have these reports, as the coaches that come in continue to say the same things, there's no way to beat around the bush there. They're going to have to act on it. The players are not to the caliber. They put all their eggs in one basket. That window's closed. They will adapt and they will move forward. And Yeli, one thing he needs to stop doing, in my opinion, is stop pissing me off talking about this fucking Super League and teams that don't deserve to be in there. What, dude, you need to get your shit together.
We can't even compete in Champions League.
Yeah, dude.
You can't even compete in Serie A right now, bro.
You need to fucking bring it back down to reality here.
He can't play with the big boys yet.
Yeah,
I agree with you, Al. I mean, I was reading articles before the start of the cast on every newspaper across Europe, and all they're doing is fucking ragging on Agnelli, telling him, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
He's got every newspaper in England right now is taking the piss out of Allegri. I mean, you're going to see memes about him pretty soon because, and in my opinion, he's got bigger shit to deal with right now. I mean,
it's time
dude, I don't care about the Champions League reformation. Fuck that. I don't care. Excuse my language.
He's trying to run before he can fucking walk. Let's figure out our shit here. You haven't won this trophy since 1996, and now all of a sudden you're talking about creating an echelon of a league even above that. It's time to bring it back down to reality, man, and stop getting greedy because it's all about this. It's all about this. Yeah. And the problem is he needs to balance this with what's on the pitch. And right now, the scales are tipped this way. Here's the fucking money, and here's what's been happening on the pitch. He needs to bring it back to stable. And fuck, man, they need to act, and they need to act now. But he needs to stop talking about this fucking Super League.
He needs to almost walk away from that ECA thing. It's so hollow and see-through. The big clubs in Europe that are in major debt, like Barcelona, Real Madrid, they love this idea of a Super League because it's going to make savage money for them.
As a
But I mean,
blockbuster.
the Brits, the English will never go for it. They will never ever go for it because they
Yeah,
make too much money as it stands. So just
yeah.
give it up. Give it up.
It's time to just kill that. And again, the frustrating part is when you're hearing about this and it continues and we see what we see in this competition.
And easily, yeah.
You know, it's time to for him to figure out. And again, let's see how they move. Let's see how they act moving forward. It's all we can do, Juventini, you know. But thanks again to this panel. Colin, Yamin, Raph, you guys have been awesome. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thanks for everybody who joined on the live. And again, we will get a bit more of an inside look from a very, very reliable source, criminally underrated, Mirko Di Natale, live Saturday morning, 5 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Join us on YouTube and get your questions in live. Guys,
Very nice.
I had several drinks last night. I'll probably have some more tonight, but let's forget about it. We got Cagliari coming up this weekend. There can be nothing but a victory, okay? Like, just fucking win. I don't care who plays. Put Pinsolio as striker. I don't give a shit. Win. Just win. And Pinsolio is fucking GOAT, by the way.
King Carlo.
Ciao tutti. As always, Forza Juve. Fino alla fine. Have faith. Let's hope that we get things moving in the right direction. Ciao tutti.
Ciao, guys.
Yeah, bet, guys.